And it's one of the biggest criticisms that Erykah faced when she was recording, contemporarily to this album, was people were a bit skeptical of her brand of spirituality. So one magazine called her, I think, the biggest contrivance since the Spice Girls, which is just like, ouch.
Bit harsh.
But then if you see her live, like, she uses the word inner stand in place of understand sometimes. She does yell teach at gigs quite a lot, and she takes, quite a long time out of sets to rant a bit about, vaguely spiritual things. Like, we saw her, is it last summer or the summer before? I can't remember.
Yeah, in Barcelona, 2019.
2019, yeah. And there was a bit during her set when she took time out of a song and she was like, look at your neighbour, and then imagine yourself looking down on your own body, and then just close your eyes and think about life. And then she said something like, you've just witnessed a God in yourself. And obviously, like, in hindsight, that's exactly the kind of thing that me and you, Ollie, might just kind of take a bit of a high horse about. But at the time, I was like, wow, like, I might have just reached enlightenment. Like, Erykah Badu has changed my life.
Compare that to a few weeks later when I was at Glastonbury watching The Streets, and Mike Skinner was off his nut. He was just talking like, turn to the person next to you. We were all once babies. If a baby was born now, it would be the most intelligent being on the planet. Be more like a baby. And we just stood in this tent going, what the heck is this guy on about?
God, yeah.
Yeah.
His serotonin levels are permanently fried, aren't they? Let's be honest. He's
yeah, going back to Erykah.
Yeah, I mean, do you buy it? Do you buy her brand of spirituality? Because sometimes I feel like I really, really do. Like,
yeah, I think, as you say, usually I'd be skeptical of this kind of thing, but whenever I listen to her music, this might be a bit of a rant. Whenever I listen to her music, I have a vision of all the music kind of spread out in one piece, like a piece of string, basically.
Like the Apex Mountain.
Exactly like the Apex Mountain, Jamie. And everything that's happened or is happening is kind of informed by things that have happened in the past. And I think this is in part down to the fact that she samples herself quite a lot from record to record. True. Which is obviously a really important part of hip hop, the idea that you can reference past songs, musicians, whatever. But yeah, I think Erykah is a really active participant in that, and there's a growth lyrically that comes as a result of it. So I'm thinking the track "And On" on Mama's Gun, for example, references "On and On" from Baduism, but she's basically kind of taking the piss out of herself a little bit and saying, on the last song I wasn't really making much sense, but now I'm going to be trying to be a bit clearer. She's definitely self-aware,
isn't she? Like, I don't want to give the impression that her spirituality is completely up in the clouds. She's very self-aware.
Yeah. Having said that, if you ask me if I want to buy any of the faux spiritual stuff on her website, then I'm probably okay. Things might change in the future, but at the minute I don't really want any kind of incense sticks made from her incinerated knickers. So yeah, that kind of stuff, maybe not really buying.
All right, well, just quickly, for people who aren't aware, another thing Erykah has launched in the past year or so is I think the Badu World Marketplace, it's called. It's pretty strange. So she sells stuff on this website. There are some good names. There's everything from the kind of water bottles costing $80, like through to smoking paraphernalia, basically. But all the stuff is loosely branded in relation to her music or her lyrics. So there's stuff like Cypher keeps moving like a rolling paper, and it'll just be rolling papers. Or Cypher keeps moving like a rolling tray, and there'll be a tray to like roll joints on. And it's like, what? These products are strange. But yeah, as you referenced, Ollie, the weirdest one she probably sells is the Badu Pussy Incense. And I can read you the product description. I've got it up right here. It's: we got the hottest pussy in the market. We're sharing our highly discussed Badu Pussy Premium Incense, which was created with the ashes of Badu's underwear. So, I mean, depending on how you see that, that's either a very savvy comment on how fame relates to women's sexuality, or it's very goop and Gwyneth Paltrow. Yeah, I'm not sure how you see it.
Probably leaning towards goop, but yeah.
Anyway, speaking of kind of sexuality and how that relates to Erykah Badu, obviously she's had various high-profile relationships over the years. And the way that people react when they're around her is always quite interesting. She's on Sway in the morning, and Sway tries to graft her so hard, and she just very casually and confidently passes it off. There's the video that circulated on the internet a while back of Bilal speaking about her, and he's just kind of looking up in the sky as if he's in a rapture, like, Erykah, oh my God. But then she's also, had some very high-profile relationships. J Electronica, Andrew 3000, of course, the DOC, Common as well. Ollie, do you have a favourite album released post Badu? Because obviously a lot of these people, because she's so captivating, seem to like devote their lives entirely to her, and then when they break up, the stuff they release afterwards is just not quite the same. Like Jay Electronica finally released Written Testimony after he split up with Badu. Andrew 3000 released Speakerbox Love Below, or The Love Below, really, his part of that record. The DOC didn't release anything after he split up with, at least not that I know of, after he split up with Badu. And obviously Common released B as well.
I think B, man. I love that album, to be fair. So
that would be your favourite post Badu relationship album?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Quite a specific category.
It's a bit of a subgenre, yeah. Have you? This is a bit of a non sequitur, but have you read much about Jay Electronica and Badu's relationship?
Not really.
Just a bit of a gossip column moment. So Jay Electronica had an affair so he was with Badu. He had an affair with a woman called Kate Rothschild, aka from the mega rich, mega establishment Rothschild family, the banking family. And then that person he had an affair with was the wife of Ben Goldsmith, aka the London mayor candidate.
London mayor.
Yeah, Zach Goldsmith. It was Zach Goldsmith's brother. So there was this love triangle or love square between Erykah Badu, Jay Electronica, the Rothschilds, and the Goldsmith family from like the Conservative Party. It's just like what a collision of worlds.
That is a bit random.
I cannot think of any weirder like love circles, but I think unfortunately at first I probably thought about Erykah in relation to some of those relationships, whereas now I think of it firmly the other way around. Like they went out with her, it was not the other way around. Just because I think she's such an amazing artist. The other thing, I guess
family is really important to her as well.
Yeah,
I think we should say. I mean, there's interviews I've kind of watched where she's speaking about people that she's worked with for 25 plus years, and even these people, their children are now involved, like in her kind of wider group.
Yeah,
if you like.
Well, she's quoted as saying, right, it's like music is a rebirth, and I'm a midwife bringing it into the world. So she does see herself as a bit of the mama of this big group, right?
Maternal figure.
Yeah, and have you, because obviously motherhood being quite an important part of her life and her work. Apparently, I was reading somewhere that when she was giving birth to Seven, so her son with Andrew 3000, they were listening to her own live album as the baby was being born.
Maybe you should do, if you're ever driving your future wife to the hospital, Jamie, maybe you could play them this episode of the podcast while you're on the way. Try and calm them down.
I want the first
down.
The first thing my child hears when it comes out the womb is just going to be us talking about
Erykah Badu's Apex.
Erykah Badu's Apex, yeah. The other thing, when her and Jay Electronica had a child, they live tweeted through the pregnancy as well. And there was one tweet, I think it was like, it sounded like something from the Bible because of the pacing of it. It was like, I see the head, full of hair, and just stuff like that. So like, yeah, she's an interesting figure in the world of motherhood and music, and I think she deserves a lot of credit alongside some kind of other figures of that era when it comes to bringing motherhood into hip hop and being unapologetic about doing so.